Start your engines. The Syracuse Nationals rolls into Syracuse, New York, July 18th through the 20th for its 25th anniversary. Experience the largest car show in the Northeast with over 7,000 vehicles. It's 3 days of hot rods, classic cars, live entertainment, and family fun. Mark your calendars and make the Syracuse Nationals part of your summer plans. Buy your tickets, register your ride, and get all the details at SyracuseNationals.com. Syracuse Nationals. It's worth the drive.
You know what I love, Steve? Being a jerk.
Listen, dude, we've been doing a show for 90 minutes.
I had a chance to listen to the last call. We game plan for PJ Hall.
Uncle.
I have a list of guys I would never hang out with. Your name is right on the top.
Do you like the worst song bracket we're doing?
It's considerably better than the supplement bracket. Let's start with that.
I won a limbo contest.
Oh, my God.
Fran Brown joining us.
These guys are working their butts off. They expect to see their fans.
You want extra money just because you're North Carolina? I'm in all right
What
now.
an honor for you and Jordan to be next to me
every
daily.
day.
This is Orange Nation.
There's music, there's fun, there's us. It's everything you could want all in one place.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us alongside Paulie Sibilia. I'm Stephen Fonte. It's a Tuesday edition of Orange Nation. We've got Donna DeTota coming your way at 12:30, basketball writer for Syracuse.com. She recently caught up with Adrian Autry. We'll get her thoughts on the offseason. Dave McMenamin, 1:30, NBA reporter for ESPN. Friend of the program, friend of yours.
He's the original Fop.
He is, that's right. Q Sky, you know him awfully well.
He actually wanted us to make T-shirts for our guests.
Yes, he
that were
did.
Fops. It said Fop on them and then Orange Nation, so they could wear them when they came on.
He will join us at 1:30 to preview the NBA Finals. Plus, we'll mix in your phone calls throughout at 315-437-7644. What's up?
Not much, Steve. How we doing? Did you have a good night?
Yeah.
I had a compelling night. It was amazing.
0-0 Padres game.
I watched Napoleon Dynamite into the Padres 0-0 extra inning game that was won on a bunt and a sacrifice fly in the 10th inning.
Thrilling.
Yeah, it was great. What a night.
Thrilling stuff.
Man, I laughed. Like, I've seen Napoleon Dynamite a lot. I must be a child. I laugh still that whole movie. The whole movie.
It's a good one. You also sent us, me and Jordan, you sent us a video of a replay last night in the Padres-Giants game.
Like, it happens in the NFL. It happens in baseball. How do they get replays that wrong? Like, everybody sees it.
It was a play at second base for those who don't know what we're talking about.
I think Willie Adames.
Yeah.
They tried to pick him off, and he slid in, and his foot came off the bag.
Clearly.
Yeah, and he was out, and the announcers, I sent you guys the Giants announcers saying, oh, yeah, he's out.
He's out, yeah.
He's out. There's no way. And then call stands.
Yeah. Bizarre. It's frustrating. That drives me crazy. We do, and it drives me crazy. And like the things that are not reviewable, like that was reviewable, they just got it wrong, which you're right. How do they get it wrong when everyone could clearly see that it was wrong? There's a call that's wrong, but you can't review it, that drives me crazy as well. Let's have replay for a reason. Like, let's use it to get it right. I'm with you. That was a bizarre call. Didn't hurt the Padres though. They ended up winning the game.
Yeah, but if I'm a man, like, you can't even ask what they saw. If you're a manager, you'll get thrown out of the game.
Right?
But, like, were they watching the same video? Did they have a different angle? Maybe a better explanation is needed. Like, just say, hey, we have an angle that showed that his foot came off the bag, but his shin was touching on the other side. Explain it.
Or just say it's inconclusive. Now, that one I don't think was inconclusive, but sometimes, like, there are replays where you look at it and you're like, man, that's really close. And you go with whatever the call on the field or the court or whatever the call is, you stick with it because you're like, we really can't tell. Yeah. Just say that. Yeah. Instead of saying the call, they use the call stands or the call is confirmed, right? The call is confirmed means we know we got it right. The call stands is code for, we don't really know, but we'll go with what we called.
Yeah, I would like an explanation like, hey, according to the angles in New York, they have found.
Sure, right. Something, right. A little bit more transparency.
The reason he is safe is because...
Right. Because everybody in the building can see what we're seeing at home, and it's like, how is he safe? Anyway, that's not what we're going to start with today. What we're going to start with today is some college football.
Yeah, Chris Carlson wrote an article on how much Dino Babers was paid, and it was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. Not a lot of money by college football standards, but a lot of money.
I would say by Syracuse standards.
By Syracuse standards, yes.
Yes, they spent in order to be, at the time, it was a lot of money.
Right.
They spent in order to be competitive, and it didn't go well.
Right, and what do you make of the buyout? The buyout was, according to this article, $8.9 million to fire him and to, again, eventually bring in Fran Brown. I see that number and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money. I also see that number and I say the fact that they pulled the trigger on a team that went to a bowl game and whose quarterback was hurt signals to me that they realize that this is a critical time in the program's history. And it signals to me that they are serious about football, because that's a lot of money. And they very easily could have played it off as, well, made it to a bowl game. Schrader was hurt. Let's do it again. And let's work with that, bring down the buyout for the next year. And if it doesn't go well, we'll pay less. We'll make him go away. It's fine. To go back to what we talked about earlier in the week, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? And it wasn't fine. And they paid $8.9 million to make him go away. So, yes, it's a lot of money. But to me, that signals they realize this is a critical time and they had to go out and find their guy. And it looks like John Wildhack did.
Yes. And it also proves that after the 10-3 season, they had the win against Virginia Tech the year before, his first year, right? And
his first year, yes, that was the first big
against
win.
Clemson. But they were only 4-8 and 2-6 in the conference in both those years. 10-3 pops. In Syracuse, I don't know if this helps at all, but it felt like it was the fans were clamoring, the donors were clamoring, the alumni was clamoring. We need this guy back.
Yeah.
And they did it. They pulled the trigger in order to stay competitive, and it didn't work out. And that happens sometimes. But now they have Fran Brown.
And I do think, for people who want to look back, and it's, revisionist history, when you look back and say, well, how in the world could they give him the extension?
They had to.
You just laid it out. They had to. And at the time, it seemed like if you don't pay him, he's going to leave. Like, I remember having those conversations on the radio about people were like, oh, now he won 10 games. Now he's going to leave. We're going to have to start all over again. And people were like upset about that.
Absolutely.
And the signs were there. You mentioned the win over Virginia Tech and Clemson and to win 10 games. And the signs were there that this thing was moving in the right direction. And that, Dino talked about not having to go back to that. Once they get to that level where they're going to bowl games year in and year out, you're not going to go back to 4-win seasons or 3-win seasons. And then right after he got the extension, we know what happened after that.
5-7, 1-10,
and then COVID hit, and then they went south, and he was unable to recover. So I don't blame John Wildhack at all for giving him the extension. They had to at that time. I did read something on social media today in regards to this about somebody responded, and this kind of bugs me when people say Dino didn't leave the program any better than when he found it. That is just false. Like that's just false. And you look at what happened last year, and yes, Fran Brown was a big reason why they won 10 games. Obviously, he came in, he brought in players, he brought in Kyle McCord, all that. I get it. But you look at a lot of the key players on that roster, right? From Trevor Pena to LaQuinn Allen to Marlo Wax to Justin Barron, Rondé Gaston. Those were guys that Dino brought in. And so, and again, if you remember when he took over to where to where he left things, they did go to back-to-back bowl games for what it's worth. So it bugs me when people say that the program was no better off after he left than when he found it, because that is just not true.
To be honest, though, it kind of was where he found it. I mean,
I disagree.
There was good players, but it was still at the same level. I'm looking at, like, if you go win-loss.
You don't think the talent in the program was better?
Than 1 year for what? Yeah, because that at the end, yes, but the talent wasn't great when he was here. He kind of had the Quinn Allen,
Sean Tucker. I mean, he brought in those wide receivers.
But didn't every coach after Greg Robinson have players that you're like, oh, okay, well, that was,
I guess.
If you're going by wins and losses, he left the program where he found it.
He went to back-to-back bowl games.
Yeah, that's great. He went to 3 bowls in his tenure.
And he went to back-to-back bowl games, and the talent was better.
They finished 11th in the ACC his last year.
Yeah. No, I know, and that's why he's not around anymore. And I get that.
Yeah, no, there was good team. Yeah, he didn't. I don't think that he took Syracuse to another level. He did for 1 year. It was fine. It was just I don't look at it like he helped or hurt. It was just he kind of maintained the badness.
Well, I think when you're coming off of Schaefer, again, we talked about this with the basketball program. Programs can go one of 2 ways. I suppose there's 3 options. You stay the same, you get better, you get worse. I think that the program was a tick better when he left it than when he found it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think the players in the program helped set the stage for what happened last year.
Well, yeah, the players in the program set the stage for his 10-3 year also.
The quarterback in particular.
Yeah,
the quarterback.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to. What is it that you always say when you're about to say something? No disrespect.
With all due respect.
With all due respect to Dino, I think he left the cupboard is about where it was when he found it.
Yeah, I disagree. I do. I think the talent in the program was a lot better when he left. And listen, it didn't translate into wins and losses to the degree they needed to, and that's why he's out of a job.
He didn't win with that talent. That's why he's out of a job.
Well, right. He went to back-to-back bowl games. I think you and I still look at his last year. If Schrader doesn't get hurt, it's probably a different story.
Yeah, there's 2 scenarios where Fran Brown, we did this segment a little while ago where Syracuse fans wouldn't trade Fran Brown for anything right now, right? Anybody. There's 2 scenarios where Fran Brown isn't Syracuse's head coach, and that's if they don't extend Dino, they probably have another coach. And what if he had come in and, won or,
sure.
You don't have the opportunity to get Fran Brown. And then the other one is if Syracuse stays healthy in 2023 and has 8 wins or 7 wins or whatever it was that they set the mark at, I think it was 7.
7, yeah.
Yeah. If they have 7 wins, you don't have Fran Brown either, and you've probably got Dino for 1 more year at least.
If Garrett Schrader doesn't get hurt, they probably win that BC game, and that's your 7th win. And he probably would have stayed. I would assume he would have stayed. I think they were looking for every reason for him to stay, especially when you look at the buyout and being nearly $9 million. And it wasn't there. I don't know. I think the program was better when he left than when he found it. And I don't hold the Garrett Schrader injury against him. I think, again, he brought in talent. He didn't win enough with that talent. And Fran Brown is here, and things are obviously off to a great start in his tenure. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out because it bugs me when people say that.
And don't forget that we all love Dino like we loved Fran Brown after the 10-win season.
That's a fair point. Again, people were, oh my God, he's going to leave. Syracuse is a stepping stone job. You got to lock him up, and I don't know what fans want because, again, at the time, Syracuse paid him competitively. And, according to Chris's article, moved him up to about 40th in the country in college football coaches, and that seemed like fair compensation.
With that article too, it's very much like NIL. Is he moved up to 40, but then a year later he plummeted right back down
then the
again
market
because
skyrocketed.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And so that's where they are right now. And that goes back to, when we were talking about this last year and we were saying, like, there is 0 chance that Adrian Autry is going to lose his job, like 0, and people got mad at us. Maybe this article helps explain why there was 0 chance. I mean, it's part of the reason why there was 0 chance that was going to happen last year. The way it was going,
I mean, if they did have a Louisville, a Pitt, or, the teams that the wheels have come off in the ACC, it would have been potentially like you need to do something. But there was the way it was going, there was 0% chance.
Correct. Right. And people got mad at us when we pointed that out.
Yeah.
And one of the things we pointed out was they're still paying Dino. And then you look at the numbers, say $9 million. Okay, that makes sense.
And to Fran Brown's credit, he saw something with Dino's roster that needed to be fixed was Dino had a mentality of getting small, fast linemen on both sides of the ball, and it didn't work.
Right. Yeah. He came in as Orange is the New Fast, and it worked initially, but I think he found out real quick that it doesn't really work in the ACC or Power 4 football.
Yeah, I would tell you it might.
And he didn't
you've got to have the skill players.
I was just going to say he didn't have the personnel to do it. I think he realized, like when Sean Tucker was here, okay, Sean Tucker is the best player. Now we got to kind of change what we're doing.
I will give Dino credit for this. That guy made changes on the fly to his offense.
Yeah,
that were like they weren't just like they're subtle changes. He revamped his offense.
Like when he didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
he still won a sixth game. Yeah, like that. Yes.
Bowling Ball says Dungy was the perfect quarterback for running a fast offense. Yeah, because he could survive. He survived a year where the line, they had a decent line, but if he gets hurt that year, there's no 10-win season.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, if Kyle McCoy got hurt last year, you can probably say the same thing. So last year there were a lot of similarities between last year and that 10-win season under Dino. What are you laughing at?
Mike B says, I bought the Orange is the New Fast Nike shirt. I'm owed a refund.
Yeah, they never really figured out the quarterback after Dungy.
After McNabb.
I mean, Nassib was good for a year. Yeah. We've had this conversation before. Nassib was good for a year. Dungy was good at times.
Yeah, there's been a cut, like one-hit wonders.
DeVito did some good things.
He did.
Schrader did some good things.
He won the North Carolina game. That was his good thing.
That was a good thing.
They wanted to bench Dungy.
But again, I mean, not all of it was his fault. The line is a big thing. I mean, he was the most sacked quarterback 2 years in a row.
Yeah, when you're a pocket passer and you have no line.
Yeah, that's
a problem.
That's not all on him. And then you see the success he had at Illinois, and now the way I would consider it success in the pros. I mean,
it wasn't anything to do with Syracuse.
Well, I'm saying that shows you how important the offensive line is.
You're saying he was one of the quarterbacks that was.
I'm saying his skill set was good enough, but I wouldn't put it all on him that things failed with DeVito as the starter, I guess is my point.
Recruit a line.
What's that?
Recruit a line.
Yes.
And they can protect him.
Correct.
That was his fault.
No, DeVito, I'm saying. DeVito's not recruiting the line. I'm saying it wasn't Tommy DeVito's fault. I feel like you're reading the chat, not listening to me.
No, I'm toning you out.
It was not Tommy DeVito's fault, is what I said. Okay.
Yes, I get that. That's what we were discussing.
Okay.
It was Dino is the problem.
Yes, Dino. Recruit a better line. Correct.
Thank you.
I'm with you on that. All right, let's take a timeout. 315-437-7644. We'll step aside here. We got Donna Dakota coming up in about 10 minutes. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
All the drama.
Now recoils, fades, and hits.
All the excitement. All in one place.
Oh, he's the most active guy in the building.
The NBA playoffs. ESPN 97.7 and 100.1.
Kick off your summer at the Summit Federal Credit Union Taste of Syracuse this weekend in and around downtown. Admission is free and enjoy $2 samples from all corners of the CNY food scene. With more than 90 restaurants participating, there's something for everyone. Plus, check out free live music all weekend on the Sweetgrass main stage and the VisitSyracuse.com Erie stage. Don't miss the Summit Federal Credit Union Taste of Syracuse.
How he was unable to recruit
markets this weekend only. Details at tasteofsyracuse.com.
Like after
baseball fans take it all the way. They take it to the extreme, to the next level, and to the next victory. So when it's time to travel, Amtrak takes them in comfort and convenience.
Oh, sorry, guys. My fault. My brother just texted me. Ever since I stopped watching the Padres, they've gone 7-3. I just replied, "You know what to do." at any store in America, Kevin. Walmart, Wegmans, a watch store, Target. Just take it out and bring it and compare it to the batteries at the battery aisle at Wegmans. Oh, Pawn Pro. I get it. Oops. Pawn Pro. Sorry. Steve, I hurt myself mowing my lawn yesterday. Is there a bruise on my arm right there? Not to show off my muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I fucking walked into a sawed-off tree branch. Fucking hard, man. It hurt.
Wow.
But I kept mowing, and I'm here today.
Good for you.
Got a big old bruise. Sorry I had to show you the guns. Make you jealous. Yeah, Gaber, I've been working out. How are my shoulders looking today? They look tight in this freaking this t-shirt. He was quoting the commercial that was playing. He was being an asshole, Tom's Anxiety. I have a walk behind mower. That's why I freaking hit it. Size medium. Leave your penis out of this, Govendo. Yeah, that is 4 to 6 weeks if it happens to Steve. I'll be at the gym today throwing steel with the bruise.
Give me a break.
You'd be on the IL.
Give me a break.
You'd be on the IL. You'd have to do a rehab stint at AAA Binghamton. My penis is a joke. It's a real knee slapper. I know I are making big penis jokes. Steve, are you proud of us?
I'm reading the Autry article.
That is correct. It does get bigger. I told everybody I was doing curls with it yesterday at Planet Fitness, and they threw me out. Yeah, Steve has a landscaper. He doesn't run into tree branches when he's mowing.
Yeah, I don't mow my lawn. Okay, I don't. Is that a big deal?
Yeah, that's bougie as hell. Bro.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is. I mean, paying someone to mow your lawn's one thing. To call him a landscaper, that's like having.
That's not okay. Whatever. I'm not going to talk about this.
Oh no, it's not Zamfir today. The greatest flautist of all time, of the pan variety. It's Jethro Tull. They're good, Steve. They're a vibe. Very 1970s, very Paul Davis-y, little rougher than Paul Davis. Like, I feel like if they got in a fight with Paul Davis, they would beat him up.
Really?
Yeah.
He took a bullet,
Yeah,
survived.
But Paul Davis is more of a lover. This is called Cross-Eyed Mary. I believe. What did I just play? Yeah, Cross-Eyed Mary. Jethro Tull, artist of the day. You're going to love it.
Do they sing?
Yes.
Okay.
I hurt myself mowing the lawn yesterday, and it just came up in the chat during the commercial break that you don't mow your own lawn, so you would never. I walked into a tree branch, and I have a huge bruise on my arm. And it's one thing to pay somebody to mow your lawn. I get that. That's fine. But you said you have a landscaper.
Yeah. 2 different guys.
Well,
one guy mows the lawn.
You're not helping.
I'm just listen. I mowed my lawn up until a couple years ago, and I have back and neck issues. And my dad is the one that convinced me to do it. He said, "Listen, you work hard. Kim works hard. At some point you get to a point, just like enjoy your life, and if you can pay for it,
Yeah, what's your kid doing? Someone said, isn't your son
over the summer? Yes, he could. And actually, so Luke does do landscaping, so he can help us with that. But the mowing of the lawn, it's
Isn't there something nice about mowing the lawn?
there is.
Like I like putting my headphones on. And
I used to love it when I had at my dad's house. I used to do it all the time, like growing up. And we had a riding mower because, as you know, we lived out in the country and we had a lot of land, and so I loved doing it. I don't have a riding mower, and it got to be a lot, and I just decided to. It's a minimal expense, and it's nice not to have to worry about it.
Okay.
So, what?
I'm just laughing at the whole situation. People think we're fighting. No, like I hit my shoulder. I get it. Like I thought maybe I need a landscaper yesterday after I hit my arm on a tree branch, and it hurt. And there's a giant bruise, and my arm's gonna be green at one point. But I'll be fine. I do enjoy mowing lawn. You know what else? I noticed about mowing. You sweat at a rate, like you finish and you're not sweaty, but when you get in the house after, I sweat like an animal.
Yeah.
After mowing, no matter what. So there you go. All right. I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just...
No, a little bit you are, though.
Trying to share my thing. Do you know...
you're poking fun at me. I know you have the smile on your face. You're poking fun at me.
There's one other thing that was really funny that happened before our show today.
What?
Was when you were signing into Syracuse.com to read the article, and it asked, are you a robot? And you had to check. Which you are the only person that needs to check.
No, I said it to be funny.
I know, but the reality of it is you are a robot. Like, that's the funny part about it. Steve has to be like, am I a robot?
That was one of the funnier things you said. Without skipping a beat. You said, yes, actually you are.
It was funny. That of all the people you do need to, maybe you shouldn't check that box. Speaking of Syracuse.com, we got Donna Ditota next. She's going to come on and talk about, she spoke with Coach Autry at length about all the new players,
yes.
The return of players. And there was one thing that stuck out to me in that article was how Autry said he went over the tape of the players that they were recruiting with JJ and Donnie to show them, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. We'll talk with Donna next, and yes, that was why I was logging in so that I could read the article, and we'll chat with Donna.
Donna, if there's a way around the "I am a robot" thing for you, so you can get in.
Donna Ditota joins us next on ESPN Radio.
I ain't got no kids. That I know of. You might be my son, Gaber. Bam. I made my own iced coffee. I'm also so old that if I had a kid, he'd probably be out of the house by now, and his kids would be mowing his lawn. My dog tries to attack the lawnmower down the yard, so I have to leave her in the house while I'm mowing. You know how I learned I wasn't going to be a serial killer, Steve? I once accidentally weed whacked a frog in California when I was a kid, and I hated it. I was fucking distraught. Whereas I would have enjoyed it if I was going to be a serial killer. Ooh, that'd be a fun starting 5 serial killers. Oh, that. I watch way too many documentaries. I could build a killer lineup. I wouldn't take Manson because he was hands off. Like, Manson should be the coach. He somehow got people to do whatever the hell he wanted. He's like the Phil Jackson of serial killers. I put Dahmer at point. John Wayne Gacy at small power forward. I'd put the Melendez brothers. They're not serial killers though. They just killed their parents. That's a wacky story too. I get obsessed into true crime. It's not a good thing. It's a very female trait of mine. Yeah, I think that's a female trait. A feminine trait. That I love serial killer and true crime. Oh yeah, Ted Bundy's the 2 guard. I'd put the Candyman at the 3. I don't know who my center would be. You don't like this conversation? Yeah, John Wayne Gacy's my power forward, but he's got to wear his clown outfit. Dahmer would eat up the competition. Ooh, BTK, good. He'd be locked down on defense, BTK. Oh, Jack the Ripper. Oh, man, that's a good one. But we don't even know who he is, so how can you find him to sign him? Lorena Bobbitt didn't kill anybody. She just lopped off some guy's junk. Is that guy still alive, by the way? What the hell was his name? Welcome back to Orange Nation. Our artist of the day, Jethro Tull. This one's called Living in the Past. Very 70s. Very flute heavy.
Yes. I've noticed.
When we did Instrument of the Day, I could have done flute in just every Jethro Tull song.
You said these guys have a Paul Davis vibe to them?
Well, they're very 70s.
Oh, okay. Because that's an insult to Paul Davis.
How dare you?
Let's go to the guest line. As promised, we bring on our good friend Donna DeTota from Syracuse.com. Donna, great to talk with you. Is your summer off to a good start? I suppose it's not technically summer yet, but it kind of sort of is.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, sure. I mean, I'm not. It's not, the work isn't quite as hectic, so yeah, it's off to a good start in that way.
But you are still working, which is why we have you on, because you just sat down with Adrian Autry and had an in-depth conversation with him about many things, including the offseason, which is what we're talking about today. One of the things that stood out to me from the post, and we kind of have been discussing this on the show anyway, but it was interesting to hear him kind of say it out loud, is, it seems like with this portal class that they wanted to get better defensively and they wanted to get more athletic. And that was kind of how you started this post, which was Adrian Autry said they wanted to get more athletic and they wanted to get better defensively. So let's start there, Donna, with how they went about attacking the portal this year.
Yeah, I think that one of the things Adrian was saying was that, when they played better teams last year, those teams had better athletes, had quicker athletes, and Syracuse was just a little bit overwhelmed in that situation. They didn't have the athletes that to match up against those teams that were really good. So I think they were mindful of that when they went into the portal, and they wanted to get, a little quicker, a little more athletic, a little bigger at every position. And so that's what they went in. That's the mindset they went in with, and those are the kinds of players that they pursued.
And again, not to call out anybody by name, but I mean, again, Jaquan Carlos was small, right? Eddie Lampkin wasn't super mobile, and it seems like those two positions in particular, point guard and center, they really said to themselves, we got to get more athletic, we got to get better defensively, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I think in particular they really wanted to get some rim protection. I mean, they had no rim protection at all last year. I mean, so the verticality of the athlete I think was important. It's just as much as the nimbleness and the quickness and all of that. They wanted the guys to be able to protect the rim, and so the first two guys that they got certainly were those kinds of guys. And I think that they were very mindful in the way that they were putting together the roster in the sense that they just couldn't contest at the rim, and that they wanted to be able to do that.
They got more athletic at the center position, Donna, but, in your opinion, are you concerned about the fact that there's lack of playing time at that position over the past couple of years from these guys?
Well, I mean, there's three guys that got now, right? They've got the young guy that they just got in their class, and then they've got two guys who haven't, you're right, they haven't played a ton. But I think, for what they want those guys to do, I think that I know that Adrian's really, really high on William Kyle. They love him. They tried to get him when he was coming out of South Dakota State and didn't get him. UCLA got him. And so they've liked him for a couple of years. And I think that they think that in their system, he'll be a different kind of player. I mean, the thing with UCLA is they had three pretty good big guys. And, they used all those guys. So, it's hard. Like I don't want to sit here and proclaim, on June 3rd that this is what the roster is going to look like. This is how everybody's going to be. I mean, you can only speculate from here. I'm not going to make too many projections or predictions until we actually see them play in a game or see in a practice. But I think they did do a good job in that position of getting guys who can contest, and I think that was a huge issue last year. I don't think last year they were very good at pounding the ball into the post, and Jair could score in there, and Eddie could score in there. That's not going to be how they are this year. I think they're going to do a lot of pick and roll with Nate George and whoever was playing center, and that's how they're going to score from the post. But I think it's going to be a completely different way that they're going to try to get points this year, and that they're trying to defend with a completely different prototype of center.
Don, I said let's start with talking about how they approach the portal, but I want to back up even one more step because you did make reference in there to Donnie and JJ coming back. Yeah. How much how open was Coach Autry about the conversations he had with those guys in terms of bringing them back? Was it a difficult sell? Was it were they on board from as soon as the season ended? Okay, we're coming back. Let's run it back and let's get it right this year. What did he say about those conversations? And then can you talk a little bit about how involved they were in the offseason with some of these portal acquisitions?
Yeah, I mean, I think, from the very beginning of that conversation that we had, Mike Waters and I sat down with Adrian Autry last week. In the very beginning of that conversation, he wanted to make very clear that the primary thing that they wanted to do in the offseason was retain Donnie and retain JJ. They believe those two guys are two of the better guys in the ACC and at their positions. They thought, if they could recruit their own two guys who they think are very good, then they will build the rest of the roster around those two guys. And they didn't. Adrian didn't seem to be all that worried that they would lose him. I think that they've had open communications with them all along, and I think that they thought those two guys were going to come back. I don't think it was a hard sell or a tough sell. I mean, I think JJ in particular, he has talked about this is his hometown. Before he has a very good relationship with Adrian. Before he leaves Syracuse, he wants Syracuse to become the program that he believes Syracuse can become. So I think the sell with JJ and with Donnie might not have been as hard as maybe some of us might have imagined, because I think both of those two guys could have gone into the portal and, done fairly well for themselves. So I think they knew sort of going into it that they were going to have those two foundational pieces. And then the idea was they were going to build around those two guys to sort of complement those two guys' games. And I think, the interesting thing that came up in that conversation for me was JJ and Donnie were very involved in the kinds of players that they pursued, in that they were shown NBA prototypes before any of these guys got in the portal about what they wanted these different positional players to look like. And then once those guys actually got into the portal that sort of fit that prototype, and that those players became interested in Syracuse, so there was mutual interest, then they would show them video of those specific guys. And I think they were very involved in the recruiting process. They went to dinner with them. I think they were, trying to sell their program with guys that Syracuse brought in. And so I think they were very mindful of, here's our two main guys, and we love these two guys. And how are we going to make these two guys better, and how are we going to make the rest of our team better by building around those two guys?
I think we would all agree that the portal did not go well last year, and I think we would all agree that one of the factors, not saying it was the only factor, but one of the factors was NIL money. And again, in your article, you alluded to the fact that Autry, again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it sounds like he feels comfortable with where the NIL resources are right now, and that, last year maybe they had issues signing the point guard that they wanted, but this year it sounds like they went after guys, and for the most part, they got the targets that they wanted.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. I mean, he said that last year there was a couple of guys that they wanted that they just couldn't afford. And this year it seemed as if they got, he said, specifically that they got the guys that they wanted to get. Now I don't know if, they wanted 1A and 1B and they got 1B instead of 1A. But I think all the guys that they wanted, that they got, were guys that were on their radar, that they were interested in, that they liked their style of play, and that their style of play fit the kind of roster they were trying to construct. So I think he did say that they were, and obviously a big part of that is the rev share part of it, which, they didn't have last year, but every team has rev share money this year. But I think, Syracuse, every team can distribute that revenue share money the way they want to. And Syracuse has told us, John Wildhack told us earlier that they were going to portion out a decent share of that rev share money to the basketball program. So I think the rev share money that they're going to get was a big part of what they could offer some of these players.
You just said a moment ago it's the beginning of June, and it's hard to kind of project out what this is going to look like. But I think we go back to last year, and Adrian Autry had said that they wanted to play faster and wanted to create more possessions. And part of the problem with that last year was defensively, when you create more possessions, that can expose you defensively. And I think we saw that a little bit last year. Teams were getting more possessions. They were scoring more points. And Syracuse maybe didn't run as much as they wanted to because of various, because of personnel on the floor. Let's put it like that. The roster that you see right now, Donna, it seems like they're better defensively, and it seems like they're more athletic. Do you think we will get a truer sense of Adrian Autry's system? And I realize it's only June, but do you get that sense looking at this roster?
Well, funnily enough, I'm going to write a story about that. I do think that they're going to be a different kind of teams in terms of transition. I think the players that they brought in, purposefully were guys who were more athletic and could get up and down a little bit better, and who suited a style of maybe running a little bit more, maybe pressuring the ball a little more, maybe getting in the passing lanes a little bit more, to be a little bit more disruptive, to get more chances in transition. He did say that specifically, they did still want to make sure that they rebounded. They wanted guys out there who could rebound their position, because that's obviously a huge in terms of transition as well. And I mean, if last year's team didn't do a whole lot of things great, but they were a very good rebounding team. And so he wanted to keep the rebounding. I think who knows? We'll see what happens with the rebounding and what happens with defense. But I can't imagine that they would be worse defensively. It just seems if you have better athletes, you're going to be better defensively, right?
Last year they also didn't have a lot of options from beyond the 3-point line. Do you see them getting better at that this year with what they've got?
Well, one of the guys I really am intrigued by is Nate Kings. That's a guy that they're getting from Oregon State. I think this young man shot 44% from three last year. He's a lefty shooter. He's 6'5". He's also a very good athlete. He's the guy that really intrigues me. I mean, Kyan Anthony can shoot it. He's a little streakier, but he can shoot it. I think JJ, when he's off the ball, as much as he's going to be off the ball this year, could be a much better shooter than he was last year. I just think he was asked to do a whole lot of stuff last year, and sometimes I think it can wear on you a little bit. And I think his shooting may have suffered a little bit because he was doing just too much stuff. So I think hopefully JJ will get a little bit better shooting the ball. I'm trying to just mentally go through the rest of the roster. I think Tyler Betsy's a guy. Like Tyler Betsy, he's a guy that Adrian seemed really, really high on. He really liked him. He said he recruited him hard out of high school, and he's another guy who can shoot it, and who I think they think can shoot it. And so again, but we thought they'd be better shooting it last year too, and they weren't. So until you get out there and actually start playing, you never really know. But I think they have a few guys who can shoot it this year, I think.
We all saw how good Nathan George could be at Georgia Tech. Who do you think is going to be backing him up at the point guard position?
Well, I mean, I think when I saw JJ like in maybe April or something like that, and JJ said he thinks he's still going to play a little bit of point guard here and there. I think Luke Fennell is a guy who they anticipate being a point guard at some point here at Syracuse. I think he could play a little bit of point guard. I think Nate George is going to have the ball a lot, though. I mean, and I think JJ is probably going to be the second option at point.
Now, Don, I know that the reason we had you on today was to talk about this story, and it's about the transfers in particular, and not to give too much away of your other content. But can you touch on the freshmen at all coming in? And did Adrian Autry speak to what the plan is for a Kyan Anthony and a Sadiq White? And are they going to be guys that are competing for starting jobs? Are they going to be guys that are probably going to be coming off the bench as freshmen? Do you have a feel for that?
We didn't talk at all about who's going to start and who's not going to start, because I think right now, like on June, we talked about last week, so it was the end of May. Like, I don't think he has any idea who's going to start. I mean, he probably has some idea, but I don't think until the guys get in the gym and start actually competing, he knows who's going to start and who's not going to start. I mean, you can certainly pencil in like JJ and Donnie are definitely going to start,
right.
And then I actually don't know who's going to. I mean, I would assume Nate Kings is going to start, but I don't know.
Probably Nathan George, so that's 4, and then a center. So the way we look at it is we wonder, we kind of wonder, and we've been kind of planning it out too, and saying obviously things could change, but we look at it and we say maybe last year we might have thought that, well, of course Kyan Anthony or Sadiq White, they're going to start, but now it kind of looks like, based on who they got, I guess that's why I'm asking the question, is that they may very well have to come off the bench, and I don't know. Do you have any feel for that, or if that might be an issue with these 2 high-profile freshmen coming in, and they might have to be role players their first year?
I don't think so. I mean, I think both of those guys, both of them are top 50 guys. I think they're like the top 40 guys, right? And Kyan is a much better offensive player, and Sadiq is a much better defensive player. They're different kinds of guys. Like, and I think both of them are going to play a lot. And I think Adrian did allude to the fact that he loves the class that they got. And I assume he means he loves the top of that class in particular, right? Sure. Because those 2 guys were the highest profile, the best ranked players in their class. Now, I mean, who knows? I mean, whether somebody's ranked 31st or 61st, I mean, is there that big of a difference? And, anything could happen. But it seems like, those two guys, I think they have high hopes for, and I think those 2 guys are going to play quite a bit.
Season was over, had time to digest it. How is Coach Autry, how did he come across to you that he's handling all of this? I don't have to tell you that there's a portion of the fan base that was not exactly nice to him during the season last year. And how do you think he's handled it? And going forward, how do you think he'll do?
I think he's a pretty tough guy. I mean, I think he certainly is aware that there's a lot of conversations about him. And I the thing that I think he thinks about more, not so much is he going to continue to coach after next year, which I'm sure it crosses his mind, but I think he just legit wants to get better, wants to get the program better. Like, he's a company guy, like he came through Syracuse, he played here, he's coached here. He wants the program to be good. And I think that's his primary objective, is to get the program back to where he thinks the program should be. I don't think he has a whole lot of existential thoughts about what's next March going to look like if we don't play. I think he's really pretty much just focused on how can I get my team better, and then the chips will fall where they may, I guess, right?
Donna, anything else that was important from that conversation that you want to get across to us, or anything you want to tease, I guess, with more of your content coming out in the coming days and weeks?
No, I mean, I just think it was a good conversation for us to have. I mean, everybody wants access to the head coach, right? Because he's the guy he's the decision maker. He decides what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. And it was good to sit down with him and hear his thoughts about all these players. And we didn't get too deep into the freshmen, because we've talked about the freshmen with him in the past. But I think it was interesting just to see sort of, for me, it was like my story was going to be about why they got the players they got in the transfer portal, and what about those players appealed to Syracuse. And in that sense, he was great. He was very detailed into how they went about getting each of these guys, and specifically that they were better prepared this year because they had a general manager. And, he was clear that, he's the guy who's driving the bus, so to speak. He's the guy who's making all the decisions. But it was so much easier this year because Alex Klein had spent the entire year essentially, trying to gauge the value, for whatever, for lack of a better term, of each of these players who could go into the portal. Like, these were the kind of players who Adrian Autry wanted at these various positions, and what guys might be available. He did a lot of film study on all these guys, and then would present them to Adrian. Like, here's some options at center, for example. So I think once the portal opened, they were much better prepared this year to sort of get into it from the jump.
It's kind of like going into a fantasy draft with like your cheat sheet. Like, I need a tight end, and you've got like your top 5 right here. Okay. All right, Donna. Really insightful stuff. We appreciate you coming on. Keep up the good work. Hopefully you can enjoy some of the summer as well and the nice weather ahead. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks very much. Take care, you guys.
All right. You as well. Donna Ditota joining us from Syracuse.com. Does a great job covering the team, and you can check out her work there. With that, we'll hit our final timeout in hour number 1. We've got Dave McMenamin coming up at 1:30 to preview the NBA Finals. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
I asked questions at interview, Steve.
You did.
My shoulder's hurting out, along with my arm from carrying this crappy show. Oh, that's how I have such big shoulders, Gaper. I almost laughed at I've been known to be called flute heavy also. Gaper, that's a funny line. Let's settle down. Love is a hard word. CJC, how you doing today, buddy? Even though you think I'm an asshole. And you told Steve to call me that. And he wouldn't, because he's a good, wholesome human. You're good guys. Heck, you both are. No, I know. It's fine. I can take a good ball busting. I've been short my whole life. You okay over there? Making a lot of ruckus. Typing with one finger. Are you texting with one finger?
Yeah, I always text with one finger.
On the table, just banging on
I text with my thumb. I text with one thumb.
Well, everybody does, but you had it down and we're...
No, I know.
But angry.
You probably text with 2 thumbs.
That seemed very angry.
You text with 2 thumbs.
Do I? No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? You and I are in the minority. Most everybody texts with 2.
Hold on. I mean, No, I do.
Yeah, you do. I text with 1. I just text
But you
with my
were
right
just
thumb.
very angrily jabbing at it like a kid who doesn't know how to type. Do you watch your landscaper cut the grass?
No. He does it when I'm at work. He does it on Mondays.
I'm going to go get that guy water.
My landscaper doesn't cut my grass.
What's he do? Trim your trees?
He really pulls the weeds, trims the trees.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's bougie as hell. What about the lawnmower?
That is for Kim, because Kim used to do that, and she doesn't want to do it anymore. And the lawn is for me, because I don't want to do it anymore. So.
I don't want to cook anymore. Maybe I'll hire a chef.
I'm 5'11", Michelangelo.
Do we have a chef? Did the Infantis have a chef?
Kim is a fantastic cook.
A maid? Do you have a maid?
No.
Are you sure?
Kim actually asked the other day, she was like, can we get somebody to come like once a month? But I think she was kidding.
We used to have one as a kid.
You did? Well, you had like 9 kids in the house.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and both
I
my
get it.
parents had to work, so.
Michelangelo, I was point, and then my last year I played shooting guard.
It wasn't like Alice either from the Brady Bunch. It was someone would come in while we were all out and clean the house. This one's called Mother Goose, Steve. Jethro Tull, our artist of the day. There's the flute out of nowhere. Will you Google who the flautist is for Jethro Tull?
Yes, I will.
That person deserves credit.
Ian Anderson.
Oh, I should know that. Yes. Ian Anderson. I should have known that. Music guy Paulie doesn't know what he's talking about.
He is also the band's lead vocalist
Yes.
and plays other instruments, including acoustic and electric guitar.
Man, he's talented. Bet he gets all the ladies.
He kind of looks like...
me, right? Everybody looks like me.
He looks like the guy from Breaking Bad a little bit.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Steve, someone in the chat wants to know what your strongest... This is a good ask, Steve. What was your strongest skill set as a basketball player?
I was a great passer.
How was your handle?
Very good.
Like if you...
I was fast. I was quick. I was good off the dribble.
If you were a video game, what would your... and it was based on high school players, what would your score be?
My score, I don't know what my score would be. I modeled my game after Bobby Hurley. That was
90s, 80s, upper 80s, mid 80s, 85.
I think I was a really solid
88?
point guard. Sure.
88.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but Jordan, maybe
good
Jordan,
free throw shooter,
Jordan
fundamentally
can tell me.
sound.
Is 88 a high ranking for a player?
I wasn't a 98, I'll tell you that.
No.
But I was a good, solid point guard.
Were you fast?
I was very fast, very quick off the dribble, good defender.
Did you ever break anybody's ankles in a game?
Sure, of course.
I bought you a damn VCR. We need to watch you play.
We do need to. I have my the athlete of the week they did on me. I do have that somewhere.
I legitimately bought Steve a VCR so he could watch his high school basketball highlights.
I think it was more so my kids could watch my high school basketball
Just
highlights.
out of the blue, I saw a VCR and I bought it and gave it to him, and he never used it.
I could lie to you and say that I did, but I didn't. I know where it is. It's in our office, but it is not set up. I'm sorry. One of these days I'm going to do it, though, and I'm going to think of you.
I get called the a-hole on this show all the time. I was out thrifting, and I bought you a VCR. I'll never let you live that down.
It was like $2.
Hey, shut up.
But
shut up.
No, I do.
It was $4.99. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I do thank you for that. You bought it at a garage sale, and they did $99. Why didn't they just make it $5?
I don't know, Steve. Whatever the sticker said, that's what I bought.
Okay.
What's it matter? What's the price? It's the thought that counts.
It is I said that. I really appreciate it. And whenever I watch my games back, I will think of you and be like, that was really nice that Paulie did this for me. Just hasn't happened yet.
It's been 4 years. It's been 84 years. No, it's been a long time.
It's been a while, yes.
You're not going to use it.
I will at some point.
You will
and as you know, we're being inducted, our team is being inducted into the Bishop Ludden Hall of Fame this summer. So that might be like the motivation I need to watch some of these things back.
Are Jordan and I invited to the table?
You are, except for it's $100 a person. So,
right.
Am I footing the bill?
Yes.
It is. It's August 3rd. Are you busy that day? That's what you always tell me. I'm busy that day.
I'll take that day off. No, I would go, dude. I would go see you get inducted into Hall of Fame. I'm not that big of a jerk. I don't want to hang out with you and watch a football game.
So yes, that might be the motivation I need to watch back some of the videos. That all this time later, 31 years ago now, that might be the motivation I need.
When I go in the Radio Hall of Fame, you can come.
I thought we were going to go in together.
No.
No.
That's never going to Have you heard you on the radio?
You're so kind. You're such a kind soul.
Listen to yourself, and you'll know why you're not in the Hall of Fame.
All right, shall we?
Yeah, we'll take
Shall we take a break?
Yes.
All right. Dave McMenamin coming up at 1:30. Hour number 2 starts next on ESPN Radio.
Who was the really good basketball player at Bishop Grimes when I was in high school? Why can't I?
Tom Drum?
No, he's heavyset kid.
We're on a mission to save you money while supporting local businesses. Only at SaltCityDeals.com can you double your money.
It was during the Quad era.
Rob Seitchen? Was he a Grimes kid?
Listen for your favorites to be the deal of the week or get crazy and try someplace new.
Yeah, Sport Boy, don't get me started with the Ludden Grimes Hall of Fame. No, Kevin, I'm paying for Kim. I'm paying for the kids. Although JP doesn't need a ticket. I clarified that yesterday.
When I was in high school, Reagan was president, and then the other Bush.
Costumes, hot rods, and more. With live music, vendors, and celebrity meet and greets. It's a weekend filled with family-friendly entertainment. Tickets and more info at SyracuseNationals.com.
See if I can do this basketball. All-time leading scorers. Let's see what we get here.
General Manager, the Nida Motor Group in Oneida and Rome. I want to say that if you're in the market for a newer pre-owned vehicle, now is a great time to buy. Don't be fooled by gimmicky dealer programs like guaranteeing you $4,000 for your trade that, let's be honest, you know it isn't worth that. Or scratch 3 gold bars and you win $1 million. Or even the tariffs are coming. Oh my gosh, the tariffs are coming. It sounds too good to be true. It probably is.
I just Googled best Bishop Grimes basketball players, and Donna DeTota's name popped up.
Probably not worth it. I'm just being honest, Central New York, an honest car guy. Imagine that. Before you waste your time,
where did you find it?
I just Googled best Bishop, but it was all girls' names. There wasn't boys' names listed.
With hundreds of new pre-owned vehicles to choose from, we are certain to find you the perfect ride that fits your needs. Whether it's the price point, a low payment, or a special one-of-a-kind ride that you've always wanted.
He didn't look like a basketball player.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
Why is it so hard?
I remember when I was in high school, Tom Drum was their best player.
I'm William Attar. A car crash can change your world in an instant, leaving you with questions and challenges. That's why our compassionate team is here for you 24/7, providing guidance and fighting tirelessly for the compensation you deserve. We're committed to helping you every step of the way. Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. 315-444-4444. South State Street, Syracuse. Or visit WilliamAttar.com.
No one sells or stocks more pre-owned vehicles than Drivers Village. 500 used available, including over 300 SUVs and trucks, 100 certified pre-owned.
That only goes back to 04.
Our buying experts want your car. Stop into the DV Buying Center and get it appraised instantly. Over 500 used, one location. Shop the used car and truck warehouse and everywhere at Drivers Village. See more at dvused.com.
Oh, that's just the championship.
For another conversation between Brian and Paulie about Pawn Pro.
Do you know what time it is right now, Brian? I'm asking you a question. Oh, you're right.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. Read the goddamn rundown.
Because you can find a watch at Pawn Pro also. Pawn Pro on Erie Boulevard East has one of the largest collections of watches anywhere.
You know what I hate? When my watch battery dies.
If you buy your watch at Pawn Pro, Brian, listen to this.
I'm listening.
Don't change your battery for life.
My life or the watches?
Full. Whatever lasts longer.
Hey, Jordan, do you want to come in here for a second?
That can authenticate any watch. Not many places have that. Some local jewelers will send their customers who want their watches authenticated.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is good because.
Do you understand what?
Yes, we've got audio. He's gonna come in.
He is gonna come in. Okay.
And throw to it.
Stop by, call them, or visit them online at pawnpro.com.
Because I'm not sure I understand the prompt.
He called Cat a loser.
No, I know, but what's the pro versus college fan versus radio host.
Who what is the level of criticism you can hit? I would assume.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
We get into the songs you'll know now, Steve. At least you should. You're a man, and you know Jethro Tull. You know this one?
I do know this one.
It's called "Bungle in the Jungle."
Walking through forests of palm tree heartlands.
I knew way more Jethro Tull songs than I thought I was going to know.
Down by the water hole, drunk every Friday, eating their nuts, saving their raisins for Sunday. Lions and tigers.
There was a bungle in the jungle.
Man, Ian Anderson is so talented.
Why are you so angry?
I'm not angry.
Okay. So WFAN's morning show, right? That's what they are?
Yeah.
One of the guys called Carl Anthony Towns a loser. And here's the context of it. And what is your take on this? And, you know, I don't think he was calling him personally a loser, but just like as a basketball player.
And he's making $50 million a year, and at the core, he's a loser. That is their biggest problem. The guy is a loser. He's a losing player. He complains. He is soft. He shows you flashes where he's the best player on the court. Not enough. He doesn't play enough defense. He bitches and moans. He is, up until this point in his career, a loser who is making $50 million, who is going to be a logjam as far as them trying to get to the next level.
His shot selection on Saturday night was insane.
I mean, he is getting to the point now as one of the most frustrating players I have ever watched in the uniform of a team that I root for, because I know how good he can be. And it's just so damn annoying watching him not realize his full potential. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I really don't know. But that is their biggest issue, is the fact that they thought this Towns thing was going to work better than it did, and it hasn't.
Did you take that as him calling him a loser personally?
I took it as him calling him a loser as a player.
Yeah,
I did take it that
aggressive.
way. It was aggressive. I will say this: I'm not gonna call Carl Anthony Towns a loser. I'm not a Knicks fan per se. Like, I'm a basketball fan. I enjoy watching college basketball. I will watch the NBA playoffs. So I have watched the Knicks play quite a bit. He is extremely frustrating. There are nights when he seems invested. Like, you go back to that fourth quarter he played last weekend. Like, not this past. You know what I'm talking about. During the. What was it? I forget which game it was now. Where they made that mad comeback. They were down 20 and they came back and beat them. Like, when he's invested, he is lights out. He's awesome. The problem is that he's not invested all the time, and I think that's kind of what he was getting at. And he used stronger language, and I wouldn't call him a loser, but he did go there. But no, I didn't think he was attacking him personally. I think he was attacking him professionally, and he was attacking him as an athlete.
We kind of saw it yesterday with the recruitment of Nate George, right? Yesterday in our chat, someone said he only won 10 games.
Right.
Like, he's, people have said it about JJ, not in such harsh terms. JJ has never made the tournament.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're bad players, though, or a loser, right?
No, not at all.
Do you think the Knicks would have been in the position they were in without him?
Man, it's tough to say because, again, when he turns it on, he's a difference maker. When he turns it off, Mitchell Robinson is a better option, right? And that was part of the problem. Is there were times when Tom Thibodeau thought the better lineup was with Towns on the bench, So that is I think fundamentally what he was saying in that clip is accurate. That one of the biggest problems is that one of their best players is not always invested. You can't have that. Look at the other great players in the league, and I was going to bring up Giannis, for instance, and I'm not saying that Towns is Giannis. Giannis is a better player, but Giannis does so much for that team, and I don't feel like he takes nights off. You know, like there might be nights when he doesn't play as well as other nights.
I get that, but I feel like you could say that without calling someone a loser.
Right. That's what I said. His language was harsh. I said fundamentally what he's trying to say makes sense to me, that one of your biggest issues is that you have two great players on that team, potentially great players, Brunson and Towns. Brunson is there. Like, do you ever see Brunson take a possession off? Like he just keeps coming at you. You knock him down, he gets back up. You go back to Iverson, right? Iverson was your favorite player. Why did you love Iverson? Because there was no quit. It was always
except for practice.
I was going to say except for maybe in practice now and then, but in games he'd just keep coming at you, and you could knock him down, and he would brush himself off, and he'd get back right back up and come at you again. And that is not Karl Anthony Towns. And so I do think that is an issue for this team. I don't know if it's the main issue. I don't know if it's why they lost the series, but that is a problem. That he is good enough. Brunson's in foul trouble off the court. Towns has the ability to take a game over like he did in Game 4, or whatever game it was when that fourth quarter. I think it was Game 4. All the games are kind of running together for me, but he has that ability, and it's just frustrating. You don't see it all the time.
I would rather be called a loser than someone question my work ethic. And he kind of did both there. It was kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get it, because you see it on the court, that he takes, possessions off, games off. It's just, people want us, see, I'm going to tie that back into us. Like, people want us to talk about Syracuse basketball that way. Right? Don't you get that vibe?
Yes, and I'm not doing that. Like, that's right. That's aggressive, and that's
like he has blown any chance whatsoever of having any access. Right now with Karl Anthony Towns, right?
It isn't even just about access,
but it's also
though.
New York, like that. Yeah. But that's part of your job. Like, you do need.
Here's the thing, though. He could say what he's trying to say without calling him a loser.
Right.
He could say he takes possessions off. Yes. He takes games off. It's frustrating because he has all the potential in the world. He has the potential to take a game over, and he doesn't do it on a consistent basis. That says the same thing as, without the headline of, radio host calls star player a loser. So I don't know. That's just not my style. Like, maybe that's why I'll never work in New York City. Like, that doesn't make me comfortable. I'm not comfortable calling someone a loser in that regard. Like, I think that's a bit harsh. But fundamentally, like I said, what he's saying makes sense to me.
Yeah, it does. It's one thing in New York, too. Like, you could say things like that in New York because there's millions of people listening, and you'll tick off a smaller percentage of them than.
But to your other point, he's never going to have access to him or maybe some of his teammates, or at least for a while. At all. Yeah.
The Knicks might say.
Yeah. But he's a radio talk show host. So,
right, but so are we. But we're also in market 100 now.
Yeah.
Which is sad for Syracuse. It was 85 when I started.
It was, when you started, it was 85. When I started, it was 63, I think.
For TV?
Yeah.
I think it was in the 80s when I started in.
And then they kind of reconfigured the map. And so one of the counties that Syracuse got credit for then went to Rochester, and then we got bumped down a little bit. And I think from a TV perspective, I don't think we're quite to 100 yet, but is it different? Is the radio and TV markets different?
I don't know.
Oh.
But it's both done by Nielsen now, so I would assume it's the same. But yeah, you can't, and you also can't say things like that in Syracuse. Like, I saw there's fewer people in social media and actual media. It's like you run into Griff at the grocery store.
Sure.
I've been working at SU for 25 years as a contractor, and like, I know these guys, and you don't build relationships like that in bigger markets.
Yeah, I was just curious because you brought it up. Syracuse is 88. Is that what you said?
In TV?
In TV in 2025.
Well, check the radio market size, because I believe it's 100.
Okay. This is riveting radio. Yes.
Guess the market size.
Hang on. I'm going to need a minute. I understand your point. And, Yeah, again, whether we're in Syracuse or New York City, I don't know. To me, that
I think it makes a huge difference.
Well, it makes a difference.
New
I'm
York
just saying.
City wants to hear that.
I get it. I'm saying me personally, I don't. Regardless of what market I'm in, I would not feel comfortable calling an athlete a loser for that reason.
I get called a loser on a regular basis by our listeners. They don't care about my feelings.
All right. Why don't we?
You can't find radio market site. You found TV. Look at you.
Listen,
even in your Google searches, you're biased.
Calm down. I'm in the radio now. Okay, but I found a list that's top 50. Now I got to make another click here. Stand by. I'm going to have this momentarily for you. Momentarily. You're right. It's not the same. It is number 100 in radio.
Thank you.
So you were right. So it's different.
It's almost like I know my job.
100 in radio, 88 in TV.
Are there more TVs than there are radios? And I don't know what the hell that means, but all right. All right. Let's take a time out.
Okay.
Couple losers taking a break.
Dave McMenamin joins us in 15 minutes, friend of the program. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
Yes, Gaper. I've caused the population of Syracuse to shrink. Everybody just moved out when I started. You're so TV centric, Mr. TV.
No, I happen
and
to know.
Showbro Michael, you can shut the F up.
I happen to know what website to go to for the TV one. I didn't for radio, okay?
What market size is Syracuse in radio? Google.
And I Googled it, and I only got the top 50.
You could use
and I was trying to have a conversation with you, unlike you, where you're not paying attention, and I'm saying it's not Tommy DeVito's fault they didn't have a line, and you were like, yes, it is his fault. Recruit better. I said Tommy DeVito's fault. And
Ask Jeeves.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you and listen to you.
Netscape Navigator. Use that.
Always thinking about the family fortune. Here at Mannion and Copani, we applaud that kind of thing because we've seen too much of not thinking ahead, not thinking about their family's fortune. There's a beautiful Victorian home in Cicero built in 1930 by industrious grandparents. That home was lost to long-term care. A grand Georgian home in Manlius with magnificent manicured grounds lost to long-term care. And it doesn't have to be that way. Today, a family trust is a must. I'm Terry. I'm Tony. We've saved many family fortunes. A quick call can solve it all. 478-3500.
Good morning, Mannion and Copani. And Jim? Yes? Syracuse. Right here at 224 Harrison Street, Suite 306. Yes, MedicaidLaw.net. You're welcome.
Jordan, why don't you come in here and make this today's business since we have McMenamin at 1:30. Hopefully you can hear me.
New York City Fairgrounds, July 18th through the 20th. Come celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Northeast's largest car show. Check out thousands of classics, costumes, hot rods, and more. Live music, vendors, and celebrity meet and greets. It's a weekend filled with family-friendly entertainment. Tickets and more info at SyracuseNationals.com. Proudly presented by the McGuire Automotive Group and Sweetgrass.
Hand me that pen if you don't mind.
Yeah, Steve, anything for you.
Thank you.
I buy you a VCR. I'm going to buy you a DVD player next.
I'm going to use it.
I'm going to go to Pawn Pro and buy you all the outdated media players.
I'm going to use it.
Laserdisc, CD, Betamax.
The ambiance? Isn't it ambiance?
Michael Antonio, I cracked that joke on the radio. I said, "Do we give up when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?" And some listener called me the dumbest human on earth. Do you remember that?
What?
When I quoted Animal House?
Yes.
And
people
the guy
got
said,
mad.
"Oh my God, you idiot!" No, he didn't mean the Japanese. He meant the Germans. It's from Animal House. That's right. The Germans did bomb Pearl Harbor. It's starting to worry me how many people haven't seen Animal House.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com.
I just picture Ian Anderson like bandoloni at the fair, playing all the instruments himself. This one's called Aqualung Steve from 1971. You know this one?
I do.
Do you know Steve?
And don't make fun of Bandoloni. He is.
I love Bandoloni.
He's very
Who's making
talented.
fun of Bandoloni? I said I pictured him like Bandoloni.
Okay.
A talented man. I'm getting concerned about the amount of people that listen to the show that have never seen Animal House. Have you seen Animal House, Jordan?
Negative Ghost Rider.
I feel like we may need to.
That's the only Animal House quote I know.
I feel like we may need to rent a movie theater and make everybody watch Animal House, because whenever somebody says, "Did we quit when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?" people lose their minds. They get super angry. It was the Japanese. What are you, stupid? Like, I feel like we need to have a showing.
Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get a projector. You're going to put it outside next to your fire pit. You're going to invite everybody over except that one guy who almost made me get Tommy John pitching wiffle balls to him.
I just texted him a second ago because he would know the Bishop Grimes player I was talking about.
And then we all watch it there.
I do think it's because it's so old now, and Phil brings up that point in our chat that it's been like 40 years. I think that's partly why.
Yeah, I know, but we're all like.
Well, me and you are of a certain age, but not everybody who listens to the show are.
All the time.
I mean, I know of it. Like, I know Negative Ghost Rider is obviously not from it. So,
do you think that we would we could fill a place if we had a showing of Animal House?
Yeah, I think we could fill a full show if we just cut up Animal House into
if
segments.
I rented a movie theater and we showed Animal House.
Yeah, we could just play it instead of doing a show one day, for sure.
Would our listeners show up? Just so they know that when we say, "Did we quit when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?" we don't have to explain it every time.
Yeah.
Is it free entry?
Yeah, I'd do it for free.
Yeah, I think people would come if it were free.
Charge for refreshments.
All right, we don't want to keep Dave McMenamin waiting, so let's get to today's business, shall we?
Don't put this on Dave. He's a friend of the program.
No, I know. I don't want to keep him waiting. I'd like him to come back again.
It just got me super bad that people are so quick to call people stupid. Never mind.
No, this is good because we'll lead into the interview with Dave talking Animal House, and then he'll get all excited. And then he'll say the quote about the Germans and Pearl Harbor, and we'll be like, "Thank you."
And then he'll be, and people are like, "Dave McMenamin's an idiot."
Today's business.
Brought to you by Grossman St. Amour CPAs.
GSACPAs.com. Well, we have Dave McMenamin on to preview the NBA Finals, so I want to do a quick blind rankings.
All right.
And it's of big sporting events.
Okay.
So not all of them are necessarily going to be like the finals. Some of them will, some of them won't, but just like the biggest events in sports. I'm going to give you 5. You're going to blind rank them. That's how we do this. I'm going to start with the World Series. I feel like that's a good one to gauge interest.
1 being the biggest, 5 being the least?
Or the biggest, or just like the most enjoyable, or which one gets you most hyped. Or
I'd put that at 3.
I was going 3 too.
Here you go.
Yeah, 3.
Beep, beep. Oh, is that more hyping than NBA Finals?
I'm going either 3 or 4.
I'm going 3 or 2.
Okay. Let's go 3 then, because we want to agree. Okay.
I'll give you the NBA Finals next since you mentioned it.
Under it. 4.
4?
Yeah.
4.
I wonder what you guys think is coming. This is interesting. Where do you have the Masters?
2.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you're going college basketball Final Four or national championship.
Because I would actually put that at 2 or 1, but I would put the Super Bowl ahead of. Super Bowl is going to be 5.
Yeah, you're right. We can't put Super Bowl 5. We boxed ourselves into a corner.
Yes.
Here. Okay.
You might have blown it. You might have not.
All right.
Is the Super Bowl going to be 1? Here's what we'll do. We'll cut the drama. I'll give you the Super Bowl now, and I'll make you make the pick. You can't put it at 5.
So yeah, you're right. It's
I'll tell you
1.
this.
It's got to be 1.
I'm not gonna do the Final Four just because it's 2 rounds, so it doesn't feel like one event. Like the Masters, I know it's multiple days,
because
but
we can't
one tournament.
we can't put the Final Four 5.
Yeah,
so maybe we did okay.
We should be fired if we put the Final Four 5.
Maybe we did okay. What's the other?
We are idiots.
I wasn't gonna go college at all, so I think you did well. I was gonna give you the Stanley Cup final because a lot of people don't like regular season hockey, but people love playoff hockey. So that speaks to how well it's done and the intensity of it.
Yeah, I think we did okay.
There's a lot of ways you could have gone, though. Like, we could have had the national championship game. One thing that ruins a lot of these is they're on Monday nights, the college ones. Like, that just grinds my gears. I don't want to be doing
Stanley
Monday
Cup
nights.
and the NBA Finals, a lot of them are during the
I know,
week
but
too.
they're on, like, different days. It's not just, like, one game you have to prep all Monday.
Yeah.
I must put like WrestleMania on here because a lot of people, they don't care at all about it, but they'll be like, oh, I'll find a WrestleMania stream and see what's happening.
That, yeah.
So there's a lot of ways you could have gone.
Dateline the World. Do you guys know what Poly Market is?
It's where parrots shop, right?
Poly, P-O-L-Y Market.
Oh, it's
Poly
like
Market. You can bet on almost anything on Poly Market.
Multiple markets, right?
Yeah, so it's Dateline the World. People are currently gambling on will Jesus return in 2025. If you think Jesus is due to return and visit by the end of the year, you can buy a yes share on Poly Market for 3 cents. And as long as there's someone willing to buy a no share at 97 cents, and there are, as of today, June 2nd, 25, the volume is at $513,000.
Oh, no. I'm forgetting what this was because I saw this was tied to will Jesus return before like this happens.
Jesus returns sometime in 2025, yes shares will be worth $1. So you'll make 3 cents on every thing. And if Jesus doesn't return in 2025, yes shares will be worthless and no shares will be worth $1.
I'm so mad right now because I saw this, but it was will this happen before this happens? And I'm not remembering the thing, so it's not helpful.
You are an insane human if you're gambling on that, right?
Yes.
Armageddon or the Rapture.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So there you go. Why would anybody vote by yes?
I mean, what are you going to do if you win the money? If the world is over? Okay, then.
People who buy yes aren't really betting that Jesus is coming back. They are betting that the people who locked up their funds buying no shares will sell them at a loss to use the money on other bets with bigger payouts. So it's like stock market and not actual gambling.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating.
Was that a kicker?
It was a kicker. Yeah.
Oh, it's before Grand Theft Auto. The new Grand Theft Auto game, they've delayed it like 2 years. And it was like, will Grand Theft Auto come out before Jesus returns? And it was like, you have a 13% chance Jesus returns first.
All right. Dave McMenamin joins us next on ESPN Radio.
About because some people, I mean, it's like worldwide, but also a lot of people just don't care.
Hello, I'm back, baby. Yeah, could Jesus bet on himself? That would seem like it'd be cheating. Jesus Christ.
Is he on VMix or is he on phone? Okay.
One thing I don't get is when you look at the series lines, the favorite is like 4-1. That doesn't feel like an analytical line. That just feels like somebody's like, well, they're gonna win one game. You know, like how did you decide they're so good that it's not going to be competitive?
Yeah. Chicken tenders? Chicken nuggets?
There's one more left.
From Tully's?
Ice cold.
It's all, Jordan, it's all you.
I've already had one ice cold tender.
No. Yeah. Is there anything else out there?
Ziti.
There's a ton of snacks just in there.
Rigatoni? Does it have sauce on it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think it's it's probably their baked penne, I think they call it.
It's baked ziti, I think.
Ziti, yeah.
Mm.
And there's like a bunch of various snacks out over by where it comes.
What kind of snacks? Everything.
Pretty much. You want cotton candy? You want the
I don't want cotton candy. No. Should I go check it out, or am I going to be disappointed?
Plus, then if somebody tries to like ego you, like that's for a hardworking sales team, you'd be like, I'm Steven.
I'm not going to do that. I didn't know it wasn't
News
for
Channel
all of
9.
us. He's not on the sales team.
That was break room. Oh, grab a snack.
No, I'm good. I brought my lunch with me. I'm good.
What if I go? That's Steven. What if I?
No. I just want to be included.
The door's closed.
You can
good.
take whatever you want.
I'm good.
I'm in management.
Oh, I got to ask you about something after the show.
You're fired.
Me or Paul?
Paulie.
Syracuse women's basketball coverage. We are live and local on Galaxy Media Partner Station, ESPN Radio Syracuse.
Yeah.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1.
Gonna have a lot of Jethro Tull today. Locomotive breath. You know this one?
Sounds familiar.
They all sound very similar.
Yeah, they do.
Dave McMenamin's going to be joining us in a second. My favorite David McMenamin story, Dave McMenamin story, is Jake Prosciutti. You remember him?
Yes.
Walk on for Syracuse, now an assistant coach at Buffalo. And Dave and I drove to Notre Dame together for a game. And Jake treasured his top 100 basketball programs of all time, Sports Illustrated Special Edition. And Dave spilled a drink all over it. And I've never seen Jake so angry in my life.
And with that, we bring in Dave McMenamin, the original friend of our program,
Yes.
right?
The original fop, as I call him.
The original friend of our program. Dave, it's great to hear from you. How are things?
Things are going well. That is a true story. I can't deny the facts of that one. I actually was just texting with Jake last night, so he didn't bring it up, though. I'm glad. Maybe let that axe to grind go. But no, things are well. I'm just getting ready to head on the road the next couple of days for the NBA Finals.
Another funny Jake driving story is we went to Pittsburgh, I think it was, and I gave him the toll ticket to hold on to, and he lost it and ended up paying like $80 to go one exit because he couldn't hold on to it.
Yet somehow you all are still friends.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
That's right.
All right, Dave, let's talk some NBA Finals here. And, there are some that look at this and say, Pacers, Thunder, it's not all that intriguing. Is this an intriguing matchup? Can this be an intriguing Finals in your mind?
Yeah, Steve, if you think of the most successful teams in the NBA since the calendar turned to 2025, you have the Thunder with, they own the NBA season, but the Thunder have won 80% of their games since then. The Pacers are number two. They won 72% of their games since then. So it's the most successful teams over the last 6 months, which I think gives us a worthy basketball matchup in the finals, and they actually have similar strengths in terms of teams with depth, teams with switchable defenders, teams that can hit the outside shot, teams that can both score and defend. And so long as the Pacers can do something against that impenetrable home court advantage that OKC has had thus far. The Thunder are winning home games in these playoffs by an average of 24.6 points per game.
Man.
So the Indiana needs to find a way to win a game at the Paycom Center. And if they do, I think we're going to get a good lengthy finals. To me, when you get to this point, as much as it was exciting to see Luka versus the Celtics last year, that's a 5-game series. Seeing Nikola Jokic at the height of his powers versus the 8th seed in Miami, good story a couple of years ago, only a 5-game series. I think this thing has the potential to go 6 or 7, which is, that's the true payoff after what's been a pretty fun playoffs for the NBA.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you're right about the Pacers. Forget the number of seed that they are. This has not felt like a fluke. They have been the better team in every series that they've played along this way. What is their biggest strength, Dave? As you look at this team, why have they been so successful during this run? What has led to them making it to the NBA Finals?
Well, they don't have, with their best player being Tyrese Halliburton, who can affect the game with 6 points and 15 assists or 30 points and 10 rebounds. They don't have kind of a set style where anyone needs to get a steady diet. And so they do feed the hot hand. If it's Benedict Mathurin, he has it going, he's going to get 25 points. We're going to keep finding him. If it's Obi Toppin, then it's his night. If it's Pascal Siakam, his night. And so that unpredictability makes them tough to, kind of scout and plan for if you're the opposition. And it has led them to have a really close group where, they really believe that everyone's contributions matter just as much as the next guy. So whether it's Tony Bradley as the backup center, who was out of the NBA for 2 years, he's a great story. And now he's, going to play minutes in the NBA Finals. Thomas Bryant, scoring 9 points in 5 minutes to really put the nail in the Knicks coffin off the bench the other night. Andrew Nembhard, right on down the list. It's a really talented group, and then you have a championship head coach in Rick Carlisle, who many people around the league consider him to kind of be the best X's and O's guy going. And so if there's a bit of a slight disadvantage when you're going up against a 68-win team, it helps to have a guy who was able to make the Heatles, look embarrassed back in the finals when he was coaching the Mavs.
Let's go to the other side and talk Oklahoma City. And, it's hard to believe it's been, really more than 10 years since they had that big three of Harden and Durant and Westbrook together. And I think a lot of people, when that big three broke up, they were like, well, it's over for the Thunder. They're never going to be a major player in the Western Conference. What has allowed this franchise to get back to this level where they've got the best player in the NBA, at least the MVP in the NBA, and, the best team in the NBA right now? What has allowed this franchise to kind of reemerge like this?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you bring up that previous big three. This is the first time since 2012 that a team playing in the NBA Finals has its three leading scorers below the age of 26. And the last time it happened, obviously, was with Harden and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. It really comes down to patience that allows them to get here. Now, some markets you don't have that patience. The Lakers, it wouldn't be celebrated that it was 13 years in between finals appearances and look at this incredible arc. It would be, well, what the hell took so long to get back there? But that said, Sam Presti, when they decide to move off of someone like Paul George, and to not only get all the draft picks that he got out of that deal with the Clippers, but to identify Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as someone that he needed to have in the trade, and that guy becomes an MVP, like that's doing your job so well. It's drafting well, obviously. You can't miss. And so when you end up with guys like Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams, and they pan out, like that's a huge part of their success. And then the nimble moves in the offseason, you add a guy in Isaiah Hartenstein that had playoff experience who fills a gap that they had, and then Alex Caruso making that trade for Josh Giddey. The off-court stuff with Josh Giddey was becoming a distraction. He's a very talented player, but sometimes you got to give up talent to get talent. And you add a guy in Caruso that fits right into that get-in-you defensive style, turn you over, get in the transition game, and it's not just Caruso. You got Cason Wallace, you got Luguentz Dortz. They have a bunch of physical defenders, and they make it tough on you. I covered the Western Conference Finals. I saw the way they turned a Minnesota team that looked like they were headed to the NBA Finals after the way they took care of the Lakers and the Warriors, and they completely ground them to a halt in the half court when Minnesota is trying to find offense. That is a potent defensive group, and of course you have the MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Before we get into your prediction, I do want to talk about a couple other teams and what you expect them to do in the offseason. And since we're in Syracuse, I do want to talk about the Knicks. And it seemed like the path was there for them, right? The Celtics get knocked out and the Cavs are knocked out, and it seemed like home court advantage. It felt like this might be the year for the Knicks, and they came up short, obviously, against the Pacers. What kind of changes, if any, do you expect this offseason with the Knicks?
I mean, obviously, the disappointment of that series will be, on the minds of Leon Rose and the other decision makers for that organization. I think you have to take a 30,000-foot view, though, and say, we've advanced further than we had. We made another step. Last year, we lose Game 7 of the conference semifinals. This year, we make it to Game 6 of the conference finals. It wasn't a ton of time to have this group try to coalesce 2 days before training camp. You add Karl Anthony Towns, and he is a unique piece, very talented piece, but you had to change your system around him. Listen, of course there are the trade speculation out there. What could you do with Towns? Could you get into the Giannis sweepstakes? Could you get into the Kevin Durant sweepstakes? And it would behoove them to evaluate those potential deals. I still look at a team that was up 14 with 3 minutes to go in Game 1. If they win that game, they probably win the series, and then they're in the NBA Finals. Yeah. And don't go overboard with changes just because you have that bit of disappointment of losing Game 6. Recognize that what they did this year was pretty damn successful. I think one thing you look at, and obviously me covering the Lakers, most of my kind of day job, J.J. Redick, his post-season comments about we need to get into championship shape, and everybody seeing that applied to Luka Doncic. I think a guy who doesn't necessarily get this attached to him. But if you were watching these playoffs, you saw him looking pretty gassed late in games as Karl Anthony Towns. And if you don't move him, he needs to commit to getting, in my opinion, get in better shape so he can affect games on both ends late in games.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I do want to ask you about the Celtics as well. And Tatum's out for who knows how long after this Achilles injury. And, there's been some talk about potentially breaking up him and Jaylen Brown. What do you see happening in Boston as things move along?
Yeah, Steve, I think you certainly, with the new ownership coming in, they're going to, after hang out the nose to get the franchise, they're not going to touch that $500 million luxury tax bill if they were to keep this roster intact. And so you look at someone like Drew Holiday, has a ton of value. Any team that is on the precipice of contending for a championship would value a guy like that who's a two-time champ plus an Olympic gold medalist. So I think they will explore trades with him to try to bring back younger assets and draft picks in the future. Kristaps Porzingis, an expiring contract, I think he's gone. I think they will hope to get a team-friendly deal done for Al Horford because he's such a big culture piece there and still effective as he's reaching his late 30s. But to me, you look at it like a reset year, similar to what the Golden State Warriors went through. After they suffered injuries and lost to the Toronto Raptors, and obviously KD left, they took a little bit of time to revamp things, but then were able to move forward and get another championship and get back into contention. I think that's where we're at with this Celtics team. The question I have is, will Jaylen Brown want to show that patience? Or does he say, you know what, maybe this is my time to find a different situation because, quite frankly, I don't really want to waste a year of my prime. I think that's my biggest question mark moving forward with the Celtics this summer.
Dave, I got a question. You brought up patience and fan bases, and my favorite team and your hometown team has pushed the patience of the fan base. What do you think the Sixers are going to do, and are they fixable at this point?
Well, yeah, I think they're in a really, really, really tough spot, and certainly you could say that you get Tyrese Maxey, who's continued to be an all-star level player. They have the number 3 pick. That will be hopefully an immediate impact player. And you get McCain back off injury, and he showed flashes of being a great player. And obviously Joel Embiid, when healthy, is incredible. Sure, I mean, you can say that there is some sunny skies there, but to me, at this point, Joel Embiid, it's really hard to build a team around him because of the unreliable nature of what his body's been through. And obviously that Paul George deal is looking like an albatross type of contract, giving him that type of money. So I don't have too much faith in the Sixers situation getting better anytime soon. I think the best route forward would be to try to move Joel and Paul George, even if it's 50 cents on the dollar, and just go full youth movement, because Tyrese Maxey is young enough where you could have a rapid rebuild, in the next 3-4 years, and he's still in the middle of his prime, able to be the best player on a team that can contend.
All right, Dave. I got one more question for you, Dave. We're I was looking at your bio on ESPN, and it says Philadelphia native is an avid sneaker collector. How many pairs of sneakers do you have?
It's funny. I was at the gym this morning with my wife, and our trainer was commenting on the I was wearing a pair of Kobe Bryant, Kobe 6s, I think, and my wife's complaining, well, you have these sneakers, you never wear them. Our trainer just commented on these sneakers that I never wear because I wore them today. I used to have a lot more when that bio was written. I was a single guy, and it was just me and my sneakers in my apartment. I've cut down significantly. I think I have in the neighborhood of 70 pairs now. I had probably about double that back in the day.
Cut down significantly, he says. Wow, that is
When you
impressive.
work in basketball, you're around it all the
That's
time.
true.
You know, so
That is true.
Do they have
you
their own
find-
room?
You find some ways. They do have a floor to ceiling shoe shelf in our guest bedroom. Yes, they take up a significant amount of space there.
You almost have to, Paulie, if it's 70 pairs. So. All right, Dave, before we let you go, just prediction. You mentioned you think it could be a close series. What do you ultimately think happens in these NBA Finals?
Yeah, I mean, I think barring anything unforeseen, and I'm literally knocking on wood as I say that because I don't want anything to be affected by injuries, but OKC should win this thing. Indy has shown that they are no slouch, and they're not going to lay down, and so I think I was at KC in 6, but here's two stats. I was looking at our ESPN stats and information. People do such a wonderful job, like breaking down every angle. OKC has 47 wins this year by 15 points or more between the regular season and playoffs, most in NBA history. They have 12 wins by 30 points or more during the regular season and the playoffs, most in NBA history. When you are consistently dominating your competition that way, I don't think you get to the finish line and all of a sudden lose 4 out of 7 games. So I have OKC in 6. And hopefully, they are competitive games. And again, I'd like to see a longer series than we've had the last couple of years.
All right, Dave. Great stuff as always. We love chatting with you. Good luck covering the finals, and enjoy the start of your summer.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Dave McMenamin joining us here on the show. And with that, we'll take our final time out. We will wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
Good get, Jordan. Ooh, we could have done Crowded House again tomorrow. I actually really like two of the bands that we're going to. I got some funny Dave McMenamin stories. Jake and I haven't talked to Jake in a while, but we grew up pretty good bond because he was just trying. He was a team manager and he wanted to get on the team, and he's like, "How can I do it?" And Coach Fine said, "Drive with Paulie to all the games and get in front of Boeheim every game. Rebound, do whatever you need to do." So he came to every road game with me. And we built up a pretty good friendship. Dave went on a couple of the road trips with us because he was not traveling at the time.
How long has that food been sitting there?
Hour or two?
I might have a little ziti. It's
Some
not.
chest.
It's not really saucy.
I am. I leave you with the final Jethro Tull song of the day.
Really don't mind if you sit this one out.
Thick as a brick.
My words but a whisper.
Great tune.
So disappointing that Jethro Tull Day is over.
I liked this.
Good.
You're so angry. Why are you so angry?
No, I'm not angry.
No, I think you are. I don't think you like new things. You're a very old, curmudgeon-y man who doesn't like new things. And it's not even a new thing. It's from 1972. Jethro Tull is a classic. They're a treasure.
I want to look forward to Artist of the Day again.
Okay. Well, maybe this will be the day.
Okay. What do you got?
Isn't the whole point of this
to learn,
to hear new music?
Yes, that was the point.
Like,
that was the reason I brought it up, but now I'm regretting bringing it up.
All right, here are your Artist of the Day choices.
Why not just have like an Artist of the Day in your car?
Yeah.
And then on the way here, it's hour 1 of the show. And then on the way to 9, it's hour 2. You can probably fit 4 songs in each, right? And then you get your fix.
Have your own Artist of the Day. Speaking of.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Your choices
now I want to know what you were going to say.
I was going to say that when it's a good Artist of the Day, and I like the music, and I think you feel the same way, like it provides energy to the segment.
I did not hate Jethro Tull.
Okay.
It was
when I enjoy the Artist of the Day, I feel like it helps my performance.
DMX. Let's do DMX tomorrow.
Here's your choices. Speaking of fix. I actually enjoy 4 of these bands, and the other one I'm indifferent to because I did have their poster. The Fix.
I'm indifferent to the one whose poster
because they had cool art. The Fix. This would be that band. Iron Maiden. They had Eddie, the little skeleton. So The Fix, Iron Maiden, Big Audio Dynamite, El DeBarge / DeBarge, and Peter Gabriel. I really like 2 of these bands. I'm going Big Audio Dynamite.
I'm sorry, I have to go with them too. They're called Big Audio Dynamite. Are you kidding me?
They've got bangers.
How do I not pick Big Audio Dynamite?
Mick Jones of The Clash is in it.
I was debating between DeBarge and Peter Gabriel, so I guess I'm out.
Is DeBarge rap?
No, it's R&B.
Oh.
Who's Johnny?
I don't know.
This is the Rhythm of the Night.
Okay.
Both really good songs. See, that would provide energy for the segment.
Hold on, I just want to hit you with one thing. Do you know this song?
Should I?
Have my time again. I would do it all the same.
Yeah, I've heard the song.
Yeah, Big Audio Dynamite's fun.
Will I know any others?
Yes, one.
Okay. So same as today.
They are upbeat. They're reggae, they're rock, they're a little bit of everything. You will enjoy them.
You have to blame Paulie for this one. Like, I'm going to vote for Big Audio Dynamite.
There's rap.
That's like if Chat GPT was told to give you a name for a music group.
It's Mick Jones from The Clash's side project. It's very good. You'll enjoy it.
All right. We will do that tomorrow. No Cody today. Brian coming up at 4, and we are back at it noon tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day, everybody.